Hi, my name is Devina. Welcome to Ask the Oracle channel. Today I opened a book and I just wanted to read to you a couple of things from it. You may have read this book called Tales of Power by Carlos Castaneda. He had a mentor named Don Juan who was a magical shaman. I know he had another word for it. He was a warrior. I opened the book and I happened to turn to this page here that says, the basic difference between an ordinary man and a warrior is that a warrior takes everything as a challenge. He went on, while an ordinary man takes everything either as a blessing or as a curse. So also he says, only as a warrior can withstand the path of knowledge, a warrior cannot complain or regret anything. His life is an endless challenge, and challenges cannot possibly be good or bad. Challenges are simply challenges. And also, that's on another page, a warrior must be fluid and must shift harmoniously with the world around him, whether it is the world of reason or the world of will. Reason or will. So I think that's really interesting to talk about. Like, the ordinary person, they don't deal with life as a challenge. They see things either as good or bad, and sometimes they blame themselves and they get stuck in regret and loss. And it's hard to move on from regret and loss, because in some ways it's a very punishing vibration. We're punishing ourselves, or we feel that we should have known better. Why did we do this? When, that opportunity only comes once and then the door closes. For some people, it may be another opportunity, similar, better, or not as good later on. But we could get stuck in regret. And I have one regret. I have several regrets, but I actually understand the lesson now, whereas I took a while to process one of the things recently that I went through. But in the past, I kind of regret that, hey, I didn't go and do the casting for Stranger Things it was background, I was in Albuquerque. My daughter and I went and stood in lines for hours, and there was thousands of people showed up to do they showed up to be an extra in Stranger Things, one of the episodes. And I actually went with my daughter, and I was hoping they would call her because she's a kid, She's a teenager. Oh, well, at that time, I think she might have been 11. I'm not sure how old she was. Yeah, she was about 11. And I thought she would have been perfect in it. I kind of wanted it to be her. But I got the call, and they wanted me to do it, but they wanted me to cut my hair. And I didn't have a clue what they were going to do. They could just do whatever they wanted to my hair. And I had already had my bangs, and I can't do bangs. I have curly hair naturally. Bangs look stupid on a curly headed person, especially anytime I cut my hair short. I get a really big, I get a big curly headed, fro, which I don't have any issues with fros. I think they're cool, especially, I love Bob Ross's fro. His is awesome, and I do think they're cool. But I didn't want that. I didn't want a red-headed fro. Okay, I mean, I'm not to, it's not like I want to make fun of it, but for me, it kind of reminds me of clown hair because of the color, and it's just not as pretty as long curls and locks, right? For red hair. And so I turned it down. I got called out of all those thousands of people that showed up that day, and I turned it down. And yeah, I do kind of regret that, because now I can't go back. I can't say, oh, now, I was behind the scenes and I got to be in this film or whatever, whether or not I ever made it to, the series and I was actually there, you know, but it'd been an experience, you know, and I was trying to do acting for a while and I kind of gave up on that a little early, but you know, it wasn't easy for me at the time. I had a lot of other things I deal with. But anyway, so yeah, we get to these places where regret and loss. So where it becomes very damaging is when a person refuses to let things go. They hold on to stuff. They hold on to pains. They hold on to past mistakes. They hold on to things they can't control anymore, whether they could ever control it at all. It could have been a decision. It could have been just like at that moment, you know, you were thinking something, you were just in a different place. You didn't know, you didn't have all the information that you have now. It could be anything. You know, I don't want to really go into the loss of loved ones because that one's a little harder. I don't feel comfortable, even though, you know, I have done past life regressions and I've seen what happens when we die and, you know, how we leave our bodies and we go back and we do other things. So for me, I kind of understand that our lives don't really end when we do pass over. But I don't know that that's going to make it easy for a parent who lost their child. So we're not going to talk about that kind of a loss, okay? We're not talking about that. That one's really hard. But and so what we're talking about today is the challenges, the regrets, the loss, walking away from stuff. And why do we hold on to something that hurts us? And continually, like, it's the hardest thing is to let that go. It's so hard. It's like, why do we make it hard? I guess that's what I'm trying to say is, what is it inside of us that's gonna, you know we made a mistake, perhaps. We made a mistake. And okay, so that's where forgiveness, one of the hardest things, it's a lesson. A lot of people can't forgive themselves or others because it's so hard to do that. Like you think you move past it, but then it comes up again. And it's only going to come up because we didn't let go of it. We didn't, letting go means that when you're holding on to something hot that's burning you or, hurting you, you decide that, you know what, I'm not going to be stubborn. Let's just let this go. And then you let it go and you trust in the divine plan. Like, okay, I screwed up perhaps, made a bad decision, this and that, whatever it was. But what if that decision, once you accept that it was a lesson, what did you learn from it? What did it teach you about yourself? What did it show you? And you realize that sacrifice you were making wasn't worth the exchange. When worth the exchange to try to fit in and be like everyone else? You're not like everyone else. You never were. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying for people who have an issue and they play small because they don't want everyone seeing them or whatever, Just give you an example. But whatever it was, whatever that lesson that was there to teach us about this loss and letting go and walking away and forgiving somebody else or ourselves for whatever took place. It happened for a reason, to teach us something. And it is futile. It's futile to continue to hold on to something we can't ever get back in a way that it continually causes us pain and sorrow and suffering. I think that where the healing can begin when we accept that we did the best we could at that time with what we knew. And perhaps it was a wake-up call for somebody, for us, perhaps. But the worst thing that we can do is to continually get depressed and sad and, it's not going to help the situation. Feel the emotions, let it out. But if it's something that's really, really beginning to affect your health and your frame of mind, you got to let it go. It's willpower. It's a challenge. Like, it's not good or bad. It's not good or bad. Like Don Juan was saying, that You don't want to see it as a blessing or a curse, just a challenge. And every opportunity, every experience comes with its own set of challenges. And so are we up to the task? Are we up to meeting the challenge of the situation? Like a warrior. You know, an ordinary person will not be able to get through, but if you view it in the way like a warrior with strength and willpower, and just realize that you got to keep going, you got to keep making these decisions. You can't let a regret eat away at you every single day, because if you do that, then you didn't learn the lesson that whatever that experience brought for you, even if it felt like a horrible experience. You know, we've all had those incidences that felt like they were terrible. What was I supposed to learn in that? What? This person brought this here and they did this, and whoa, what am I to do with that? You know, like sometimes it's hard to determine the gift and a perceived lesson that made us feel terrible. Maybe really made us suffer too. It could have really made us suffer for a while, you know, but there's always, that's the thing. So I guess I just want to encourage anyone who is struggling with forgiveness, self-forgiveness, regrets, anything that you would attack yourself for doing something, or even another person. Like, you know, it's interesting with karma. So with karma, like, we don't understand the dynamic of what's playing out for every person on the planet, right? And it's not for us to worry with that stuff. It's not for us to get in everyone's business and try to heal them and help them work through it. Yes, this is true. I sometimes get annoyed a little bit with, you know, healers alternative healers, that always want to diagnose you. You say one thing and they're like, oh, I can help you, I could do this, let's help you with this, and you're not asking for that. You're speaking and they want to diagnose you. I always have an issue with that, but because, you know, maybe we need that and maybe we don't. And that's another thing too, is like I was saying, you don't know somebody's karma. You don't know why this thing is happening for them. Maybe they need a lesson, and until they get that lesson and learn what it is this thing that's showing up in their life is trying to teach them, then maybe you don't need to be healing them. Maybe it's not your place. You have to ask, can this person be helped or healed? Is it time? Do they need, I mean, how do we help this person? Sometimes it may not even be the way you think it's supposed to be, you know, I'm just saying. That's another scenario, but basically we don't know like why somebody hurt us, or it was perceived, or, you know, for people who are suffering more trauma from abusive individuals and so on. But with the law of karma, you know, if that's the way they're going to continue to go, then they're going to get it back in some form or another. It may not be in this life because they're too far gone, but they will understand eventually. They'll get their lesson. It's not for us to determine what's going to happen to them and how are they going to learn it. We might have to let some of the, you know, some of that go, you know, just trust the divine plan for your life, and, you know, and the others, you know, they have their own guardians and helpers that work with them perhaps. And so we have to try and trust all of that and not be so ready to interfere, you know, and forgiveness. So that one's a hard one, guys. So if you're struggling with forgiveness, it might be something you might want to understand, how that continually creates a connection to that individual. And if we don't forgive, it creates a karma or a bond or something that ties us to somebody. So the most important thing a person can do in a situation is to forgive that person, because they don't know any better perhaps, or, you know, there was a lesson for us in that situation. So, you know, no need to continually to create karma. Just forgive it, let it go. And know that next time you're faced with that scenario, you'll be a lot more discerning as to, this looks familiar. I feel like I've been here before. I have to just take it easy for a minute. I don't feel like I want to make that same mistake again. And that's pretty much all you got to do. You know, it's a challenge. It's like we're going to rise to meet up this challenge, or, you know, we don't. It's a choice. We don't have to. We can just choose to stay out of it, whatever that is, you know. It's kind of different, but yeah, so I guess that's what I just want to tell you is to stop creating karma, is to be forgiving and forgive yourself and let it go, whatever it was. I don't hold on to that, but it comes up every now and again, you know, very rarely I think about it, because, you know, they're doing another season of Stranger Things. So every now and again, I'll be like, man, why didn't I do that? My hair would have grown back. I don't know, you know, I don't know what they would have done with it anyway. I should have just did it. But like I said, I really, when my daughter it wasn't so much I wanted to do it, even though I think I would have really enjoyed it, perhaps. It was like a nighttime shoot too. And I remember thinking, well, you know, that might be hard. I have a daughter and I have to get someone to come stay with her. But that's not something I held on to. But every now and again, I just think, oh, I wish I would have shared that experience. But yeah, if something's giving you a lot of pain and you're not able to let it go, then that's something that we're discussing, is to address it, to look at it and try to see it in different perspectives so that you can let it go and forgive and understand there is a lesson, and think of the person you were before this experience and the person you are now, and how did it change your perspective, and what did you learn, what did it teach you. And I think from there, if you're able to do that, you might, you know, with every situation, see it as a, you know, earth as a school, and what did you learn in this experience? And then, you know, forgive yourself if you made the mistake, and then forgive others for the mistakes they make against us as well, because they don't know any, you know, we're all here learning. No need to be the victim and continually play over and over the victim role. And because the more you're vibrating a victim frequency, you're going to continually attract more crap. Why would anyone want to continually attract crap? No, get away from me. I don't want your shit. I don't want you. Get away from me. No. I have a tendency to go overboard, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you're in control. It's your life. You're in control of, well, okay, maybe you're in control of some things, right? You're in control of how you choose to handle the situation. You know, how you handle that. You're in control of your emotions. You're in control of your response. You know when to pick your battles. You know when to stay quiet. That kind of thing. You may not be in control of everything, but you know that there are things you can control. And so that's kind of where you probably should focus on that. Not worry, you know, stop attracting the stuff you don't want. Focus on the good stuff, the stuff you want, right? That's what they're always telling us. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Now, I have learned about the mirror and, you know, the echo effect. Our words are so powerful. People don't even know. You know, they hear these coaches and all these people talking about it, but they have no clue how it works, right? Well, how it works, from my understanding and visualization of seeing it, is that when we're speaking, the words just go out into the universe. And they just keep going on and on. And then at some point, the universe sends it back to us like an echo. But it sends it back to us sometimes in a way that we see it manifest in our lives. So if a person's always saying, oh, that can't happen, blah, 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 because of this, or it has to happen this way, this is the only way, then they're constantly blocking the good that they could be having if they just left it open and say, you know, this, I believe in miracles. I believe in miracles. And then allow whatever miracle wants to occur when it's due time. And don't block it. Don't block it. You got, first of all, it might be hard to believe at first. Some people may have a hard time believing, may lose it. But whatever the case is watch your words, forgive, see it as a lesson, and you'll be all right. All right? All right, see you later.